And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, joined by our great friend Dave Petzo. And it's the end of the year, and what a year it's been for Dave's beloved markets. We'll take your calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. But we were talking a little about service just moments ago and phones and such.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people still go to these places called stores. Now, let me ask you personally, do you go to the store or do you do it electronically to pay your bills?
Depends on what I'm doing, but yeah, I like to go see the phone and things like that. You know, maybe I'll do research electronically and then I'll go to the store and look at them.
But for your monthly bill?
Oh, the monthly bill?
Yeah. Do you go to the store, or wait a minute, you probably have someone that does that for you.
To go to the store to pay a bill?
I do.
You do not? No, really?
I do. I go to the store to pay a bill, and if you don't mind, I'd like to share something with you because this is something that, you know, it's nonpartisan, it's non-this, it's non-that, but I think it really reflects just what is good leadership and what is good service. So you have Verizon, I have Verizon, right? Mm-hmm. So we're the big muckety mucks. We pay extra for Verizon, and we don't have the other service that's, you know, more affordable, I suppose. Yeah. But I've been with Verizon since it was Cellular One, that sort of thing. Maybe you have as well.
Yeah, a long time.
I like the idea that if you're a Verizon customer, it's free when you call another Verizon customer.
Oh, yeah.
So unlike you, I go to the Verizon store to pay my bill. Mm-hmm. Now, the first Verizon store I went to, the people were very nice, and they were busy, but they said, you know, if you go to the corporate store anymore, they won't even transfer the data from your phone to your other phone because, sorry, you're out of luck. And I used to go to the corporate stores, right? Actually, I used to use this thing called mail. I would actually mail bills in. But then I said, well, I want to save on the stamps. I'll just go into the store. So I go into one store, and they're very nice, very appreciative, but they're kind of busy. So I go into another store, and this guy goes, what do you do for a living? And I said, I'm a monkey. What do you do for a living? And I didn't say that I was a monkey, but I said, and I always loved saying this to people, I'm in sales and marketing. How can I help you market your business? And that usually shuts them up. Right.
That would do it. Because now a pitch is coming.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was trying to head this guy off from pitching me.
You're right.
So he goes, oh, what kind of phone? Oh, a 6 Plus? That still works? And I said, surprisingly, it works enough to remind me to come here and pay the bill so that I can continue on. And the guy goes, you know, they've been having a lot of trouble with those phones. Did you ever think of upgrading? No. This is what we call paid for, and I like it.
Right.
So kept going off to a bad start with this guy, and he just kept trying to upsell me. So third Verizon store, I go, see what you're missing when you don't pay your bills at the store?
You have to go to 3 stores, yeah.
Right. It wasn't that I was just finding stores closer to the broadcast center.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So the last Verizon store I go to, right here off Broadway, nice young man, although I don't like him because he has a hair bun, and I am follically envy to anyone who has a hair bun, although that really wouldn't work with conservative talk radio, having a hair bun. But no, you see where I'm going.
No, don't do a bun.
Right. They actually have fake buns for men now that you can use.
Seriously?
Yes. I don't know how that would work with
I don't understand how they find partners. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we appreciate that, Dave Petzo, but I was going to go back to my receding hairline. But however, let's so I'm talking to this young man, and he goes, oh, yep, 6 Plus, da-da-da-da-da. And I even asked him about the new iPhones. And I said, you know, bro, what do you think? He goes, yeah, they do this, this, and this. And then he looks at that I've been paying for insurance for the phone because, as Dave Petzo would tell you, it's always good to have these things insured, and you're good to go. And he saved me some money because your phone's paid off. If something happens to the phone, you're probably going to get the brand new Zip Zap Zoom, which, by the way, do you know how much the new iPhone is? Take a guess.
$1,000.
Really? No.
Okay, $1,200.
You can get an iPhone for $1,000 or $1,100, but the super duper Zip Zap Zoom. Hey, I got my iPhone. How much do you think that?
The kind of one you want to do a selfie and tell everybody I got this one.
Right, because they have this thing where you can blur the background called a portrait type thing. But please continue. I've got
$1,400.
15 or 1,600.
Wow.
It's now again. I don't know a gig from a MIG from a whatever.
Right.
256 gigabytes.
Okay.
That's a lot.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and
That's astounding when you think about how does it all fit in there?
right. And it's even more astounding when you think you have to jam it in. But it's even more astounding when you go back to, you remember the Voyager probes, right? Voyager
Yes.
1, Voyager 2.
One of the best Star Trek ones, I thought.
No, the satellites.
I know.
Okay.
It was on there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the satellites, I am in love with Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. So they were talking about the amount of computer space that they had.
Yep.
Your key fob, not your key fob, your remote control, your car actually has more computer space than those Voyager probes.
Wow, that's incredible. I know. It's astounding.
So back
Wow.
to, do you really need in the world of cloud 256 gigs? I don't know. I remember when 64, and I think this phone has only like 16. Ooh. But you think about just the upsell and servant leadership like we were talking about off the air. Here this guy is, instead of trying to upsell me or being rude or obnoxious, and I don't think the guy at the other store was trying to be, he was just overly aggressive. You think, wow, this guy has given me value. And it's something you can get anywhere.
Yep. Super value. I think that's key to small business and what's different about it. You know, when you and I were talking about that, it's as a big business, upselling, that's what we do. And, you know, you have to have general rules that apply in all circumstances. You can't give people huge latitude because, you know, then they just do stuff for their friends and can't be having that. But with small business, it's been one of those things that I don't know why people don't follow this simple principle, and many the most successful ones do, and that is that if you really take care of your clients, focus on the client, and I don't just mean focus on the client in some kind of verbiage. It's a question. It's something you ask yourself consistently every single day. What do we need to do better to have a better result for our clients? And if that's the question you're asking, you move in that direction, and you cannot stop people from coming and doing business with you. You can't. If you treat people really well and you give them a great deal and they never have to worry about what is going on behind the curtain, right? That they're being ripped off. If you always take care of people, treat them honestly, they'll beat a path to your door. I heard that, believe it or not, like 35 years ago when I was just sitting in a seminar or something and waiting for some drivel of wisdom.
Something
just to spark me, right?
Something to get that return on investment.
Right. And I was just, you know, when you're just young and getting going, everything you hear is like, oh my gosh, let me write that down. It's so smart because this out of town expert, probably from Twin Falls, was here and telling you all this wise things. But the point is it is so true. And we call it, what do you call it? Servant leadership, those kinds of things. And it is so true. But it is one of those things that also is very rewarding, but it is financially rewarding. And I think that's what we miss in business today is this idea of how to upsell, how to do this. No, you don't necessarily upsell. Do the right thing every time, and people will beat a path to your door.
Yeah, but everybody upsells. You go to Burger King. And look, judging by my physique, I can say that I've been to Burger King a few times. They're upselling you with a cookie and stuff. I don't want a cookie. I just want my Whopper.
That's right. I know.
But everything's an upsell. So in a way, that can get obnoxious when we're looking at the upsell. I accuse my dentist of it. I love my dentist, but they go, well, I go, look, don't upsell me. And they start laughing.
Yeah, because here comes a teeth whitener and all that stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah. I know. And why do you need X-rays all the time? What's the deal with that?
Right.
Anyway.
By the way, we have Mike Miniger on the line.
Mike Miniger.
Miniger's Auto Body. I don't know if Mike Miniger is working today, but boy, this is a privilege. We've never had Mike Miniger and Dave Petzo on at the same time.
I know. That's why I called the three clowns. That's nice. Especially Petzo. I'm a little worried about him. I've been watching the markets a little bit, and he doesn't want me doing that.
No, I do not. Stop doing that.
hey, yeah, don't upsell me, bro. I haven't been looking, Dave. I haven't been looking.
Good man.
Yeah, I'm listening. So the upsell thing, huh? Is that what you're talking about, bro? You're a little tender, Kevin. A little tender.
Didn't know who you were talking to.
Well, both of you. Isn't he your co-host today?
Right now, yes.
Well, I know you want today off.
Although you
I'm
might
going-
be, although it sounds like you're auditioning. Go ahead.
I've wanted to. You need somebody?
Sure.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm not bright enough for you two. I'd be the dim bulb in the corner.
I'm just trying to figure out if this is just any meaning behind this, Dave, or is it just
It's a prank,
time to
Dave.
smack both of us today?
Well, you both need it. You know that. See, this is how you started with me, Kevin. You went off on body shops. You remember that? And you're heading down that trail today.
How's that, Mike?
Well, remember you said the body shops were out there to take advantage of you, that kind of thing.
I said body
Remember?
shops are like going to the doctor. The first thing they ask you is, do you have insurance?
That's right. Man, you have a good memory.
Well, for some things.
Well, we have to ask that. We've been through this, for gosh sakes. So I am going to work, just so you guys know.
Well, that's
And I know
reassuring,
Petso's
Mike.
not. No, Petso's not, though, is he?
I am going to work right after this.
You are?
Yeah, this is work. I mean, this is grueling. You grilling me, Kevin grilling me. I'm already working. I was up all night sweating for this.
I don't know why I called. I have nothing to say.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
a
know why.
beautiful
I don't
day
know
out.
why you called either.
Well, I can go away for a while.
Wow.
You talk about who's sensitive now. Come on.
Right.
No. I enjoy both you guys. I listen to both of you. I unfortunately have to listen to Petso a little closer than I do Miller, but no, you guys have a great day. I just was driving to work a little late, you might notice.
Yeah, that's all right.
I skipped my gym day. That's not good.
Oh, no. That's
did.
okay. It's like the last day of the year. This is a free day. Free
I
day.
called it a
Tomorrow you
party
got to get back on.
myself. Oh, I will.
I'm just
I
saying the
will.
guy at the good Verizon store, he's in early.
Oh,
Like the
my
guy at the
God.
good body shop? Is that what you're
Right.
saying?
I didn't say that.
You know, I tried going to Verizon. I'll be honest with you. My phone service is Verizon, but I bought my phones from Apple. I just found it too frustrating to go to a Verizon store, and that's sad, but it is frustrating. I'm going to have to agree with you, Kevin. But I guess you got help yesterday, right? Somebody helped you in the end?
Well, I gave them money, so yes.
Whatever happened? How are we where we're paying $1,400 to $1,600 for a phone? When did that happen?
Yeah, Dave.
That happened
Yeah.
when you have more technology in here, and you have the very best camera that you've ever owned in your hand. You have the best recording device you've ever had in your hand. You have the best GPS you've ever had in your hand. You have the Library of Congress in your hand. And you can even make a phone call. That's why. There's so much
this
stuff
is
in
when I
it, it's
go to the-
astounding. $1,500 is
I know.
cheap when you think about what it does.
No, you're right. It's just if you can't read it, then you have an issue.
Well, this is
Okay.
the aging eyesight problem, and I resemble that remark.
Yeah, well, I can't even. Yeah, I got the biggest one they make. I think what I'm going to start doing is using my iPad as a phone. Would that look funny?
That would look very funny, but that's all right. As we get older, it's okay
Oh.
to look funny.
Went and saw the Mule last night.
All right,
Care
Mike.
about that?
All right, Mike
Gotta
Miniger.
go.
Yeah, yes, yeah. We need to get back to some radio.
Thank you, Mike.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. You're listening to Kevin Miller, Dave Petso, KIDO Talk Radio. And we continue on. Dave Petso with us. Kevin Miller in the morning. So, 2018.
I know, incredible. Can't
Yeah.
believe it's gone.
Are
But you know what? It
Are
feels
you
to me
happy
like
it's gone?
the millennial was just here. No, market's correct, Kevin. That don't need to be up every year. It's okay.
Bet you were happy last week about that 1,000-point rally.
I was very happy about that. I was very happy about last week, period. What I'm not happy about is the machines running all this trading up and down. That is it just drives the average investor crazy, and that's not good. It's just not good at all. This is it just says the market's broken as a functioning mechanism, as a capital accumulator, and to some people. I mean, I get it. This happens, and it makes for incredible bargains. But the average person just gets nervous, and they stay out, and that's bad for the markets.
When we talk about the machines, what do you mean?
I mean the algorithms and black box trading. 85% of the trading now is done not by humans, but by machines that are high-frequency traders. They're trading on algorithms, and they can move the market very quickly. And when momentum picks up, all of them are set to do momentum trades. So when momentum is up or down, it runs it that direction even more intensely. There's no reason for a day like last Thursday when we have a market that is down 650 points and finishes up 250 points. That wasn't fundamental. It wasn't because Donald Trump had a tweet. It wasn't because we had trade war with China. It wasn't because the Federal Reserve blah, blah, blah. And we still have the same nonsense we've been jabbering about for a decade. The same people are up there, get on CNBC and all the others. Yeah, well, the Federal Reserve, it's all phony, it's all phony, it's all phony. Well, corporate profits aren't phony. They're not. Corporate profits have been record levels. The fundamentals are great. And we just have a mechanism right now where the market's volatile, and it's a good bargain, but still, I don't like that it runs that way because I think it just does not serve the public well.
Kind of wiped out a lot of gains this year, though, didn't it?
It wiped out the gains of the year for sure, and plus, as we head into the final trading day, 7% is what the S&P is down for the year. So not anything dramatic, but we did almost hit bear market territory, close, within just a hair.
Close to the bear.
Close to the bear. Just a hairline, so we could still hit it. But because we had another peak, in August or something like that, and we ran up, and a bear market is classified as 20% down from any peak. And we were at like 19.8 or something. It was close.
So what does that mean for the upcoming year? And really, isn't this just because the Fed decided to raise rates?
No, it's not. It's way more complicated than that because the Federal Reserve has raised the interest rates 9 times.
Well, the president seems to think it is.
I think that the Federal Reserve probably could have said it more nicely in the last announcement, and I have to agree with the president that they certainly didn't help. And I also have to agree with the president on this, that they need to back off a little bit and look at the data instead of saying we are going to put this on autopilot. That was probably a wrong statement. You don't say we're going to go on autopilot as if the market isn't telling you that there could be a slowdown, that there is no inflation, and global growth is slowing, even if it's not here in the U.S. at this point. It's not slowing down. But does that mean that we have to raise interest rates and have a super strong dollar, which is difficult for trade and so on and so forth, and very difficult for the rest of the world? So it is one of those things that I agree with the president. Why didn't he just say, okay, we're just going to watch and look, and the economy is very strong. We're going to raise this time because they wanted to, and I think that's fine. I think it's justified. But we are going to wait and see on any raises again in 2019. That would have been very calming for the markets.
And more with Dave Betzo here. Now, Dave, the story of the year, in your opinion?
Wow. Well, that's a tough one, Kevin. The story of the year. I know as soon as I say something, I'll come up with something even way better. So I'll have to hold that. But as far as the markets go, probably the story of the year was the continued rally at the beginning of the year until we finally did have a correction. And the reason I say that is because in spite of all the naysayers, the market kept rallying. In spite of the hatred of Donald Trump, the market kept rallying. And corporate profits came through. And if you will, the story of the year for the long term is, in fact, the corporate tax cut that went through that nobody thought could go through, that somehow the president got done. And that is, again, I can't prove a negative, meaning I can't tell you how many jobs would have gone overseas. But on the pathway that we were on for the last 3 decades of having the most nonsensical tax package in the world, we want to be the highest tax nation in the world, but we tell businesses to stay here? No, we're not. We're telling them to leave. And we did with abandon, and they did leave with abandon, and now they're not. And so this is a huge, I think it's a story of the decades if you're talking financially, and we won't talk about it after it's done because, it's done. And it just is what it is.
Now, for me, when we're talking about the markets, I'd have to say Bitcoin.
Oh, that's a good one, Kevin. The collapse of Bitcoin?
Yeah. The rise and the fall of Bitcoin. What was it last year? At the height, it was, 19,000?
Yeah, almost 20. Yeah.
Right, and now it's at, today, 3,700.
Yeah. After a rebound from 3, yeah.
I'm doing this podcast with Tommy Ahlquist, and we interviewed this kid. He's only 20 years old, already a Bitcoin multi-millionaire. Quoted in the New York Post that Bitcoin has done, sold his first business. He's right from the Petso School of Management. You're going to love this. Sold his first business at 15 and wanted to get paid in the millions in Bitcoin. Now, imagine where Bitcoin was 5 years ago.
Right.
Even if it was around, but he was so brilliant to do this.
Yeah.
And you talk to these kids, and I mean, you hang out with the young hipsters.
Oh, yeah.
You're on the mountain skiing or hiking the Oregon Trail or whatever you do when you're not, got the ripcord and going across the Amazon or whatever.
That sounds fun.
But you look at these kids, and in the old days we dismiss them.
Yeah.
But we're talking about real money, real issues, and you talk to them, and they're very wired in.
Right.
So you take a look at, are they the future? And the reason why I say this is because they just create their own industries and businesses. And we've talked about Nathan Barry here in the Treasure Valley. You've got Russell Brunson, Nathan Barry of ConvertKit, who came up with like a better, friendlier version than MailChimp for bloggers and such. You have Russell Brunson, who's all over social media when he's, not telling us about his software program that can make you millions. You've got this young man, I'll get his name in a minute, that, he hangs out with he's found a way to make, going back to the Petsoism, luxury, a necessity, a luxury, a commodity. Mm-hmm. You look at Kylie Jenner, Kyrie Jenner, whomever. There's no business there. It's all on social media. Now, not everybody can do that.
No.
But it's just something that I think a lot of us that were born and bred in the analog world and yearn for that sometimes, not you, Mr. Technology, but me, you just wonder, what the future is going to look like with those folks.
Yeah, and it's really an interesting thing. You have to puzzle through so many different things because social media is certainly not all bad, and a lot of curmudgeons, if you will, older folks like me, that don't like all the screen time for the grandkids and things like that, don't approve of it. I think that it is a problem. But at the same time, we have to admit that this is something that is really part of our culture, and the idea that families can connect, you can have phone calls. We take it for granted. For example, you can do FaceTime now with 3 or 4 parties. One's in Florida, one's in
Well, you see the Apple Elvis commercial, which is brilliant. Have
Oh
you
yeah,
seen that?
yeah,
The
exactly.
FaceTime,
Yeah. All of this stuff is amazing, and it really does connect us. But it also makes us distant when we don't have real conversations, and people don't know how to have real conversations. They don't know how to deal with one another. I think that is the thing that we need to be very careful with in society, is making sure that people do have that communication. Not everything is in a text, but we actually have conversation. You pick up a phone, you call somebody, you go see them. I am concerned about that social element, if you will, because one of the things that social media also does is, to me, is it also creates this space where everything's okay, and even things in society that undermine the morals in society and undermine our what's okay. Like, it's okay as long as to do anything and be anything you want. If you want to be a man and you're a lady and vice versa, that's okay, and we need to accept that. And I'm not saying
you're getting off you're starting to sound like Kevin Miller here.
Well,
I don't know if that's
Kevin.
Good
My
for
concern is that some of this is made okay when long term. I understand these are social. These are mental issues for people. They're real, and people are dealing with some of these things. But when we have to have a circumstance where everything goes in society, I wonder what happens to the kids if there's no boundaries. There's no, mom and dad do whatever they want, and the kids are sitting there watching them do whatever they want. And this, I just think, spills out in terrible ways. And I think social media has not been great for that. I really do. I don't want people oppressed. I don't want people to. I'm certainly not saying, hey, gee whiz, I think that the gay people are this or this. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm not sure that all of social media helps us have a normal society.
Right. It goes back to moral relativism where there's no right or wrong. By the way,
Yeah, there you go.
Google this, True Believers. Eric Finman, a kid out of Post Falls, Idaho, at 16, the New Yorker did a big profile on him. Eric Finman is the guy to watch.
Okay.
Dave Petzo,
There
we
you go.
appreciate you.
You too, Kevin. Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Good day. All right, coming up next, within 2 minutes, John Decker will join us. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
Thank you, Dave Petzo. Let's go live to the White House. John Decker joining us. Fox News Radio. John, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Kevin. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. The president just tweeting about a minute ago, I'm in the Oval Office with John Decker. Democrats, come back from vacation now and give us the votes necessary for border security. Well, including the wall. He didn't say John Decker, but I did, sir.
Yeah, this is something that's been on the mind of the president since he got up this morning. This and also Syria and the situation regarding the 2,000 U.S. troops that are in Syria the president wants to bring back to the U.S. The president tweeting quite a bit about the border wall. He wants funding for that border wall. The dynamic is going to change in just a few days when Democrats retake control of the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi will be the new House Speaker. And so right now, as you know, we are in a partial government shutdown that continues into 2019 unless there's some sort of meeting of the minds or compromise between Republicans and Democrats over the next few days.
John Decker joining us here. John, the year that was with you and the president, so many highlights. I'm trying to think of what comes to mind for you.
Well, for me, I think for the president, certainly a big highlight for him would be the installation, the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh as another justice on the U.S. Supreme Court. The president now has two of his picks on the U.S. Supreme Court. That's pretty remarkable in just his first 2 years in office. I think one of the lowlights for the president, however, and it will continue, by the way, into 2019, is the Mueller investigation. That has certainly taken up a lot of the president's time and effort, and two of his former associates are now facing prison time. We know already the prison sentence for Michael Cohen, it's going to be 3 years. That's for lying to Congress. He implicated the president in his guilty plea. The president denies that he had any type of activity or collusion with Russian officials. The other individual is Paul Manafort. He, in the new year, is going to face his prison sentence from two different federal judges. So that is something we'll be following very closely, Kevin, in 2019, whether or not Robert Mueller wraps up his long-going investigation involving the president and the Trump campaign.
Back to your years of covering the White House, even before Fox News Radio, John Decker, it is a different world, as so many have said. Do you expect multiple investigations to just really consume us for the next 2 years?
Well, I certainly do expect that. Democrats are going to retake control of the House this week, and that means that Democrats will be in control of the House Oversight Committee, the House Homeland Security Committee, the House Judiciary Committee, just to name three. And already the incoming chairmen for those committees have said they are going to really, look into various alleged improprieties by the Trump administration very closely. There's going to be the subpoena power that they will have, so you can certainly see a number of Trump administration officials being hauled up to the House of Representatives to testify, and so that is certainly going to occupy a lot of the Trump administration's time and efforts in this upcoming year. Then, of course, the second year that you mentioned, Kevin, I think a lot of our attention is going to turn to the 2020 presidential campaign. Hard to believe we're talking about that, but we already know that Elizabeth Warren has formed an exploratory committee, so that's another name that is being considered in terms of running for the Democratic nomination in 2020.
John, how many years have you been in Washington, sir?
I arrived in Washington. Well, I was born in Washington, but I arrived in Washington to cover the White House in 1995.
Amazing. Have we ever seen anything like the next 2 years that we're about to see? You talk about the Democrats. You've got Elizabeth Warren. You've got other folks getting ready a year out from New Hampshire, Iowa. We always hear this every time. California is going to jump in, probably 20 Democrats to begin with. Massive investigations, and a president, as you know, that doesn't have a problem speaking his mind.
No, he doesn't. Not afraid of putting out whatever is on his mind on Twitter. In terms of have I seen this kind of thing before? To a certain extent, we'll see, because we don't know what's going to happen with the Mueller investigation. But let's not forget, I covered the Clinton impeachment, and that was something that was unbelievable to cover. And I have a sense that
Right.
I'll be doing something very similar to that in 2019, especially if Democrats get their way, which is, the Mueller report being very harsh in terms of what it comes out regarding the president.
It seems like the quaint
that
old
will be an
times.
interest here. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Doing talk radio back then, everybody was glued to Drudge and to Newsweek and the very
Sure.
latest. It seems quaint compared to the choices we have, the channels that we have today versus back in the mid-'90s.
Oh, absolutely. 24-hour cable is much different now than it was back in the mid to late 90s, that's for sure. And plus now you have social media. That amplifies your message quite a bit on the left and the right. And so, you wonder if social media existed back in the late 90s, would Bill Clinton have survived impeachment? I don't know the answer to that, but it would have been a different type of dynamic for sure. So the president certainly has, and his team, by the way, have called on Robert Mueller to wrap up his investigation soon. Even Ken Starr, the former special prosecutor, independent counsel, has called on Robert Mueller to wrap up his investigation. But keep in mind, Ken Starr took 4 years to wrap up the Whitewater investigation. So I don't know if anybody's listening to him, in terms of what he would like to see.
Indeed, of course, the former, was it dean of Baylor or chancellor of Baylor University, Ken Starr?
Yeah, that's right. And prior to that, I think he was associated with Pepperdine out in Malibu, California. So, yeah, he went into academia after leaving his role as the independent counsel in the Whitewater investigation. But he obviously, still paying very close attention to what's happening with the Mueller investigation.
John Decker, great year. Happy New Year, brother, and thank you so much for making time for us.
Always like being on your show, Kevin. Thank you so much. You have a great new year, and all the best of health and happiness to you, your family, your listeners, and we'll talk in 2019.
And to you, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Always love hearing from John Decker. Kind of get you all choked up. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDU. Do want to thank Dave Petzo for joining us in the 8 o'clock hour this morning, just talking about the year that was with the markets, with Bitcoin, with everything else. Now back to the issue that we'll talk about till Glenn comes in, or Mike Broomhead in for Glenn, is this issue involving the government shutdown. And I don't want to belittle people. I don't think that we get anywhere when we do that. You have lots of good people that work for the government. By the way, government, there's a trade-off. When you talk to people that either work for the state or work for the government, they always go, well, I don't make any money, but you get great pensions. Some of you have great insurance plans. Everything in life is a trade-off. And here you have everybody encircling the president. And the president saying, no wall, no budget. Even John Kelly, the former chief of staff, betraying the president. I'm sure John Kelly will write a book. Mattis will write a book. Tillerson will write a book. And what's the agenda here? The agenda here is to rip Trump away from the people that elected him. Donald Trump is not a perfect person. Kevin Miller is not a perfect person. Bill O'Reilly is not a perfect person. Maybe Sean Hannity, if you ask him on a good day, with a wink and a nod. But what we're seeing now is an unprecedented attack. Do we talk about reforming the press? Gosh, you couldn't do that. They're too all-powerful. You couldn't go after the press, could you? The First Amendment was made to hold all aspects of government accountable, right? Have you seen the movie Spotlight? Spotlight just came on Netflix. And I'm watching Spotlight, and Spotlight is the story of the Boston Globe. And the Boston Globe exposing the pre-scandal that we're still dealing with today. And, I've only watched like the first 10 minutes of it, and they have this outside editor, outside person coming in from Miami, worked for the New York Times, the Miami Herald. He's there. And when a new boss comes in, you know how it is. The new boss wants to change things. The new boss looks at things objectively. The new boss makes cutbacks. Everybody hates the new boss. Unless the new boss is your boy. And then life is good. Trying to remember if I've ever had one of those. Nope. New boss has always gotten me. Anyway, the new boss comes into the Boston Herald, and he's in this meeting. He's the guy that plays Ray Donovan. Michael Keaton's in the movie. I'm trying to think of anybody else. The guy that's the Hulk is in the movie. Not the Hulk, but the guy who plays the Hulk's alter ego. And they're in this meeting, and the spotlight is a special investigative unit. And it takes them months to get something good. And when they get something good, they break it, and it's boom, 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 ghetto fabulous, right? So he reads an editorial, this guy, Ray Donovan, but it's not Ray Donovan, but you know what I'm saying. And he says, well, in this column, they're talking about multiple allegations of sexual assault against little boys. And the cardinal, which is the regional head of the church, and if I'm wrong, I'm sure one of our Catholic friends can correct me, like the bishop is over the diocese, the cardinal's over the bishop. Cardinal Law, a famous guy. There was proof that he knew about it and covered it up and had these priests moving all over the place. And it took the outsider, like Donald Trump, to reform the Boston Globe and say, look, you've got to do this. Well, you're going to sue the church. 53% of our listenership's Catholic. That's not going to be good. And he goes, no, there's something there. And I believe the same thing with Donald Trump. There's something there. And the point being, have been two examples of great journalism, I think, in the last 10 years. The Boston Globe, thanks to the editor pushing the little New Englanders to do their job, and the story in the Washington Post, you can Google this, about the lacks in service and everything else at Walter Reed, exposing the incompetency there. That's great journalism. Great journalism is not an hour of Meet the Depressed talking about that anybody that has an issue or a question or a challenge of climate change is a nut job. Right? Great press is not people that do the pundit circuit. Oh, my goodness. A much thinner and more follically gifted Kevin Miller 10, 15 years ago, I was in the pundit class. You'd get on, you'd get a pre-interview, and you'd say outrageous things. That doesn't build communities. What we try to do here is build a community, the Treasure Valley. What I'm saying to you is, I think it's time to quit tearing down and give the president a chance to do his job. What do you think? Let's talk next. Our time, 8:51. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you, Ray Amaya. Let's go to the phones. Kevin Miller in the morning, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Kevin. Hey, let's all get on board. Our POTUS is doing a tremendous job. He shut down the government. Look at the money that he's saving us at this particular time by just having the non-essential labor not getting paid. And he realized that, and it turned out that during the Obama years, a lot of the non-essential services were being stacked filled with Democrats. And our president was told, guess what? Most of the people that are not getting paid right now are Democrats. So I think our president did a wonderful job. He signed an executive order that said, we're going to cancel the up-and-coming pay raise that the non-essential workers are supposed to get. So I sounded to me like our president's right on the stick here and doing exactly what we asked him to do, cut the cost of government. Case in point.
I take it you're not missing the government.
Not at all. What is there to miss? Come on, be real.
Well, Lincoln's birthplace is shut down.
You know, but in our heart, is it shut down? No. Come on.
Well,
all the money that the Dems have been giving away for years, the spigots have been turned off. Woo! We could stop bleeding for a short period of time. And I'm sure that's the one thing the Tea Party Bob and I are going to agree on.
You know, you're kind of an instigator.
I am not an instigator.
You are an instigator.
Many things, but not an instigator.
You go after Tea Party Bob. You go after poor liberal Steve. You go after poor little
Poor
Dave.
liberal Steve.
Poor Dave
Poor liberal-
Petzo.
I don't know. No, it's just a matter of the whole story needs to be told, because oftentimes what is convenient by many people is not what's told. It's only the part of the perspective that they choose to believe and accept as their own reality. And a lot of times what is missing is the rest of the story is the extent of the truth and not the illusion of it. Hey, that is all right. And we live in a world of illusion. We don't need any more of it. We need to keep everything very black and white for us people out here that don't understand Technicolor. We just need black and white to function. So when you call somebody out, tell the whole story, the whole truth. Do not create illusion. We look at it. We know that it's a spin. We don't want to hear about it. Sorry, Kevin. Some of us are very simple-minded, and that's just how we need to function.
Terry, God bless. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Kevin.
And I'm Kevin Miller in the morning. Ray Amaya, great job. Great to be back, everyone. God bless. Glenn Beck's next. Keep it here, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning.